Welcome to the Pluribus podcast. We're the Lorehounds, and we just want to make you happy. I'm David. I'm one of the regular hosts of the Lorehounds. Welcome if you're new here.
And I'm Nichole. I'm one of the hosts of Nevermind, the music podcast. It's an affiliate of the Lorehounds network. And we're here together to cover season 1 of Pluribus on Apple TV. This podcast is covering both episodes 1 and 2, titled We Is Us and Pirate Lady. We'll be covering the show weekly with our podcast dropping on Mondays. But we're going to take our time. We're watching the episodes as they drop because our life schedules are crazy and we need a second to sit back and consider the show a bit more than rushing. We don't want to rush our reactions immediately after the episode airs. We want to sit on it for a little bit.
And that also gives you, dear listener, plenty of time for feedback. We've got an email set up, pluribus@thelorehounds.com. And this season, we have the help of our dear hand of the pod, keeper of the chronicles, Nancy M. If you have been with us on some of our bigger show coverages, you might have interacted with Nancy. She is a super fan, and she's turns out to be a huge Vince Gilligan fan as well. So she has offered to help manage feedback for us and do some background research and some outlining and stuff like that. So Nancy, thank you very much. And everyone, please, when you send in your voicemails or your emails to pluribus@thelorehounds.com, know that Nancy is there. She's probably going to interact with you a little bit, email you back and forth, clear some, ask any questions that she might have. Nancy's lovely, and we are so lucky to have her support for this show.
We also have a Discord that you can comment on, and I was really surprised to connect the dots that Nancy and I have been Discord friends for a while. I didn't really even notice that. Yeah, I like to engage on Nevermind the Music channel on Discord, and Nancy does too, and we have so much in common, and we often team up against my co-host Mark. And she's always on my side. So I was so stoked.
That's awesome.
That Nancy was her, like she was Nancy. So It's really exciting. I'm excited to work together here.
So we're also independent podcasters, and we couldn't do any of this work without you. So if you're able and interested, you can support us by subscribing on Patreon or Supercast. We make sure that all of our hosts and co-hosts all get to partake, helps pay for all of our technology and everything like that. And you get ad-free episodes, and you get a whole bunch of bonus material, what you're watching, Second Breakfast, 11s, all that kind of stuff. There is a link in the show notes. It's a Linktree link, and it's got a page for everything. So you can get to all of our affiliate podcasts, everybody else who's on our network, as well as to all of our subscription pages and everything. All right, so all that intro's out of the way. Nichole, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling very intimidated by this show and the coverage. And the double episode thing doesn't help, right? If it was a single episode, I could feel like I was more on top of it. But right now I'm feeling very not on top of it.
It's a lot. They covered a lot of ground. It's weird, and I love it. I have a lot of questions. Tons of questions. After the first episode, I was like, what is this? What is this? And then I was so glad for a 2-episode drop because it did get us right into it and helped us understand what, instead of just a sensationalized first episode, what the pacing of the show is going to be like, hopefully throughout the season. I don't know. It was weird, and I loved it. Those are my hot takes. It's weird, and I loved it. I have a lot of
straight up
comments. I wrote notes while I was watching it. The people I was watching it with thought I was a wackadoo because I was taking notes on a TV show. But this is what we're doing here. I don't know how to get started. Should we just go into
Normally
it?
What we do is we do a quite intense outline if you've been with us for any of our other shows. And that, I think, is the intention going forward. Once we settle into a pattern and we let this first wave of these 2 episodes sort of wash over us, we'll come in a little bit more structured. I was thinking today we could just talk about some of the bigger themes and concepts. We can talk about Carol. We can talk about the other people who are non-infected. We can talk about the joined. And then maybe we can talk a little bit about the episodes themselves, sort of do a very light run through and just point out anything that was fun or anything else that came up. So we'll keep it pretty loose. We do have a piece of feedback from one of our Discord, our avid Discord users, Tara, wrote in an email. So definitely want to get to that as well. And it's a lot. So let's do this. Let's talk a little bit about the nature of the show, and then we'll take a little break, and then we'll come back, and then we'll get into talking about the main character, Carol, and everything that's going on. Did you feel at all spoiled by any of the pre-coverage? And we did minimal pre-coverage, but I felt to a degree almost a little bit spoiled.
Oh, did you?
I wish I had known nothing.
I was on a blackout. I was on a media blackout.
Right.
In advance of watching the show. I didn't want to know anything. People were sending me stuff, especially once you and I put out our little teaser
Preview.
package. I was getting a lot of texts from folks being like, oh, check out this article, check out this interview. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So I went in pretty blind.
Good.
I'm glad I did because I could like react in real time. But yeah, I didn't know much. And I was watching with my husband. We're both big Vince Gilligan fans. We're both eager to watch the show, and he didn't know anything either. So we're excited. And I'm so glad that they're not dropping just all of the episodes. They're like parsing it out.
Right.
I just love consuming television that way. I didn't know much, and I was shocked as the story was unfolding. What did you know going in?
That it was not a virus, but there was some biological thing going on. Watching the trailer, I was, parsing what we were seeing there, and then what I read a little bit on what little was on the Wikipedia. And then I was just catching stray, in the stream of information that passes me by every day, there was just stuff bubbling up and little comments here and there. And so I had the general premise that something happens to the world and everybody becomes happy. Obviously, I had no idea that it was a signal from space, that it creates a collective consciousness around the world, a psychic glue. And I just knew that, Carol was sort of an unhappy person, but I obviously was unaware of the depths of Carol's unhappiness and discomfort in her own skin, I think, in a lot of ways. And so I wish I had not known any of that, even though that is so little information, because there's only that one time that you can have that opportunity of being completely surprised by a show.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel disappointed, but I was also, plus I had the first episode jitters of like, oh my God, is this, this is Vince Gilligan. It's his return to television. It's Ray Seahorn, who I love, and all of those feelings and emotions. And so I'm looking at in a hypercritical way and at some things, and like, am I in? Am I out? Do I like this? Do I not like this? So it was a lot. It was just a lot to process for the show.
It was a lot to process. And for me, I was having this like meta moment, like, I have this podcast. It's about music and psychology. You asked me to do this with you. And I was like, I think I'm a lorehound now. Like, I think I'm doing it. So I was like, am I a podcaster? And I was like, I have to really show up for this. And like,
exactly.
I have to really like come with my A game. So I was watching it in a different way. Like I was like a professional watching it, which felt weird, but I liked it. So that's was a meta moment for me as I'm watching myself watch the show, like with my notepad, which is kind of silly.
Right.
I loved the biochem stuff. And I'll say I knew right away that it was that it was RNA. I knew right away. I was like, that's a sequence.
Right. Good job. Okay.
Like and I don't really, I teach psychology. I'm not like a neurobiologist.
You're science. Yeah. You're in the sciences.
It's a soft science. Let's be clear. But I kind of got it right away. And I was like, that's what's going to happen.
Nice.
And then she starts licking the donuts. And I was like, that's hilarious. Like how bold.
Yeah.
A lot of bad lab practice though. A lot of not great lab practice. So now we're kind of diving into content, but Yeah, it was really exciting to watch it as it was dropping out. So
one thing I want to ask you before we do our little break is, this is your first experience with Rhea Seehorn on screen?
Yes.
As an actor. And I'm curious what your initial response is to her and her performance so far.
This is going to be hard to hear, David.
It's fine. No. I'm a professional. I can take
it. I found her really abrasive, but I think I'm supposed to.
Right?
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. She made me feel, well, I'm going to use my psychology term. She didn't make me feel any certain way.
No, she didn't.
I had a feeling, and it was like, I didn't like her. I didn't want her to win.
Right.
For some reason.
Right.
And
that's Carol. That's not Rhea Seehorn.
No, I thought Rhea Seehorn was she was a great actress because she did make me feel that way. Right. And it's so interesting. Like, the first scene that we see her, she has this completely different persona of this romance author. And then you just see her mask just come right off as soon as she gets in the car. And I really relate to that. I'm a teacher, and you have to really perform a certain way. And then as soon as you leave the classroom, you kind of change.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see that in her, but that shift was so drastic that it really spoke to her chops as an actress, because that must be very hard to do, right?
Yeah.
And to appear so genuine. So what did you find of her performance in the show so far?
Well, I think that's an interesting question too, because I've known her as this one character from Better Call Saul, Kim Wexler. And Kim has a personality and a way of being in the world. And I've heard Rhea Seehorn on interviews and talking about her craft and about the show and working with Bob Odenkirk and with Vince Gilligan and Gould and the whole thing. But to see, I've never seen her outside of the Kim Wexler performance. And so I too found Carol jarring and difficult. But then there's this wide range of emotion that Rhea Seehorn is giving us. And so I'm recalibrating who and what I think of Rhea Seehorn, because this is written for her.
Right.
Vince Gilligan's in a bunch of interviews. I've been trying to consume a bunch of catch up a little bit on the show and listening to other podcasts and the official podcast and some others. So, Gilligan's on record as saying, I wrote this in mind for Rhea Seehorn. I really want to bring her forward and allow her that full range of expression and engagement as an actor. And so I'm still trying to recalibrate, out of the Kim Wexler mode.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to see what Rhea Seehorn brings. And so far she's bringing it. There was only one scene of the 2 episodes where I was taken out of things a little bit, but otherwise, and it's a very minor thing. We can talk about it later. But otherwise, just that ability to perform across all these different emotional spectrums, and to bring to life everything that Carol Suka is going through in an extraordinary circumstance. Watching the world as you knew it can change in an instant, in a couple of hours, really.
And in like a really severe, like visually striking way. It wasn't just like, COVID was a slow burn for us when the world changed, but this is like all of a sudden everyone's having seizures, right? Everybody except you. I'm wondering too, and we had talked about before, but did Vince Gilligan write this for her? And it's clear now that he has in some big way. That he didn't ask her to change her appearance at all, because I think he did. So how did she change her appearance?
This is in the official podcast, episode 1. I haven't listened to episode 2 yet of the official podcast, but I listened to a couple of other podcasts that have listened to that. So I'm like distilling information. But this is Rhea Seehorn in episode 1 official podcast talks about the ponytail that she used to have as Kim Wexler.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, they've gone with this sort of chin-length bob that she has.
Yep.
Rather than long hair or a ponytail or anything else. And there's a lot of production reasons why they made those choices. Primarily, Ray Seahorn was talking about, if she had long hair, then they're shooting in so many different environments and under so many circumstances that hair management and continuity across shots. Because you've seen filming the same scene across a day or two. And if the weather's different and the hair care isn't quite, the right, it can look different and that can break some continuity. So they went with the short bob, but Kim Wexler had this ponytail and that's part of her look. It's like, have you ever seen the Jane Goodall logo? It's the profile. It's a silhouette of Jane Goodall and her ponytail, right? That is this identified.
Iconic. Yeah.
Or went out. And she talks about how they decided to not, to go with the short hair. But for a lot of us, that is the signal that this isn't Kim Wexler. This is a very different character. But otherwise, she is who she is.
Yeah.
She looks, and she goes through a whole bunch of different transformations. Anyway, we're borderline.
We're getting into the weeds about hairstyling. But I was thinking, I know that you're a big fan of hers, and I was thinking of you while I was watching it, wondering if you were able to make that switch and how long did that take? But you said by the end of the second episode, you kind of were more fully immersed in her as this character.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting there. And then I was able to get a second watch in of both episodes.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Like how? You have time.
I know. And with family schedule, hopefully we're going to settle down into next week.
Right.
And, but yeah, it was, I am now looking for the nuances in Ray Seahorn's performance.
Yeah.
And her ability to, because again, I was kind of hit with the tidal wave of all that emotions of a new thing, a new show that we have to produce, and all the content and the workflow and the pipeline. There's a lot of work going into these podcasts, even though both you and I don't feel like it's like we've brought our A game. There is still a ton of production stuff that's going on behind the scenes that I think most people don't appreciate or realize. It's not just sitting down in front of a microphone, even though that's the core of it. And so I have all of that energy and emotion around getting a new show coverage started. Mm-hmm. And then, oh my God, is this going to be a good show? And then watching it. So second watch, I'm really feeling intrigued by what Ray Seahorn is going to do over the course of the season, because I don't think what we got in episode 1 and 2 is setting up the ground, setting up the world, and setting the stakes.
Yeah.
And there is so much more that they're going to be doing with this that there's just no way to predict. I have no way to predict what the arc of this season is going to be, nor what Ray Seahorn is going to do, because this is almost a one-woman show. This is, we're going to have a couple more characters, at least one more character join the cast. And that's in the trailer and in some other stuff. And I don't have any spoilers, so I don't know. But I'm supposing that there's going to be at least one more person. But this whole show is really going to rest on Ray Seahorn's shoulders.
And it feels that way as a viewer. Like, we are introduced to other characters along the way. It's obviously from her perspective, but we are of course following her and meant to align with her point of view. And I'm not sure that I do, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
And which is a surprise. And I'm sure we'll get into that content.
Put a pin in that.
Yes.
We'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to pick that same thought up right up here.
Okay. Now that we're on the other side of Halloween, I'm officially ready to declare it. It's the holiday season, and shopping early this year is definitely a good idea with all of the shipping uncertainties. Luckily, Uncommon Goods takes the stress out of gifting with thousands of unique, high-quality finds you won't see anywhere else, so that you can cross the important names off your list and relax. You might have heard me say it before, but I've been known to turn to uncommon goods over the years for gifts, especially for my family and close friends, the people I want to treat to something unique, memorable, handmade by creative entrepreneurs, something that will last. I've especially plundered the puzzle categories, bought lots of unusual jewelry and accessories. One time I got my friend's son these little baby booties shaped like tacos that still make me laugh every time I see a picture of them. And bonus, with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3.1 million to date, so now is the perfect time to start exploring their site before your new favorite gifts sell out. And while you can take advantage of the limited time Lorehounds discount and get 15% off. So don't wait. Cross those names off your list before the rush. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/lorehounds. That's uncommongoods.com/lorehounds for 15% off. Uncommon Goods. We're all out of the ordinary.
And we're back. So let's pick up right where we left off, talking about Carol and Carol's character.
Yes.
I think, too, I just want to plug a note. When we get out of this 2-episode overwhelm, we'll have a little bit more structure to our conversations. But today, I think we're going to keep it loose and we're going to take it easy a little bit. I'll go back and we'll pick up some things probably and bring them forward into episode 3 from these 2 episodes, because I know Nancy did a bunch of research. So I wanted to tap into that as well. But I think today, let's talk about real broad stuff.
Yes.
Talk about Carol, talk about the joined, the rules of the world, all that kind of stuff. And then we can do a little skip through the 2 episodes and touch on
I
points.
love that. I feel right now around topics of Pluribus, I have a bunch of bumblebees like buzzing around my brain, and I just need to like get them out. And I think that this is a great venue to like clear the bumblebees out.
Right.
So moving forward, we can focus on like as structured as even I can get, which I don't have high hopes. But fairly
it'll work. I'm a little bit more structured. Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. No, this is why I need a podcast partner.
Exactly. Mark is very structured.
Mark is very structured. It's very helpful.
Teach music theory, or I can't remember what his official area is.
Who even knows?
But to teach music, you have to be structured. But he drops these terms and these phrases. I'm like, oh my God, they have a description for that. There's a theory around that little thing that's happening in that little pop song. It's incredible. And you have to be so structured to be able to convey that to your students. Yeah. So hats off to Mark for
talk about bumblebees. Bumblebees in your head.
Anyway, let's talk about Carol.
Carol, bit of a drinking problem, admittedly. Little bit of a drinker. I understand. I think that she... Okay, can I just like rant about Carol? Is this
go for it. Yeah.
So...
What do the kids say? Go off, Queen. Is that still?
I don't know. I don't think you can say it. As soon as I heard it,
let you cook.
It
sounds so bad.
Doesn't sound good. I'm really interested in Carol as like a masking lesbian. I think, which is a weird way to start, but I think that's really interesting. Especially later on when we get this avatar of someone that's chosen to represent the collective unconsciousness to speak with her, how it's representative of her character in her book, but a female character, not a male character, right? More on that. But I'm really interested in, as I said before, how she can mask as a certain professional presentation and then take that mask off. I'm curious about Carol's, like, I'm such a therapist, but like of her family history. Like, I wonder, where are all her other people? Because later, when we see later on in episode 2, we meet like other people that haven't assimilated. I'm using Star Trek terms,
right?
But they all have family around them, and she doesn't. Right. And I was really interested in that, and I didn't notice it until we saw the others, right? And then I started.
Oh, that's a good call. That's a real great visual background context for who Carol is, because she doesn't have anybody,
and she even
regardless of what happened to Helen,
right? And except what happened to Helen, and she even said, like, "Who are these people?" And the way she said it was so foreign.
Right.
you would have other people with you. And then I started to realize, like, if this was us, you would have your family with you. I would have my family with me. Right.
Or the joined would send my family, like if, a parent or a sibling or a significant, a divorce, like a divorced partner or something, they would send, assuming it was amicable, they would send those people to you to help you
assimilate and feel better
and feel comfortable. Exactly.
Yes, because that's what you would want, allegedly,
but
right?
None of Carol's family shows up,
Right.
which means that she doesn't have anyone,
or
they would know.
Isn't amicable. They would know. So I didn't really realize I had that question until like midway through episode 2, when I was like, where are her people? Like, anybody.
I hadn't thought about that, actually.
So that, and that really stood out to me. And I think that when you think about the joined, that's a big piece of it. It's like family and connection. And I'm wondering if Carol's so resistant to joining because she's conditioned not to have a familial connection. And if other people are like, yes, let's join up. Like, what are you, crazy? Of course I want to assimilate. It's because they're comfortable in like a family system already.
Right. And I think is it Kusamayu, the young woman who's like, I want to be with my family. I want to share my consciousness with their I'm so connected to these people that it's actually painful for me to not share a consciousness with
when
them.
You know they all are, and you're like, you're out of it. So I'm wondering what happened to Carol in her past that's making her have no connection to her family and is drinking a lot.
So I have
and it can't just be a closeted lesbian. Like, it could be. I mean, every family is different, but there's got to be more. I feel like it's so deep.
She's closeted in as much as her fandom, which is a kind of joined collective in and of itself. How they are all like a giant fan club of hers. They have a singular consciousness and a singular way of being when they show up to her book signing. So I thought that was a little interesting insight. When we're fans of a football club or meaning soccer or, American, baseball or, whatever, or a band or whatever it is, fanatic, right? We kind of join this mob mentality. And so she has a mob that was following her around that, God, she was so authentic and engaging with her fandom. And I thought, oh, this is the Carol that's this miserable person. And so when she rips that mask off, you're like, holy smokes, that is an incredible performance that she's putting out into the world that has nothing to do with her interior life.
But was she authentic? Because when she was signing everyone's book,
no, I'm saying she seems authentic.
No, she seemed authentic, right? Yeah. For sure. But it was a mask so much. Like when she was signing everyone's book, she was signing it exactly the same way. It was so like rhythmic to her. And so.
And when we talk about production details, they have purple Sharpies to match the purple sand of the Waikaro.
And like the fans with like the purple hair and that guy with the sword who was like, I have 3 things to talk to you about. I like thought of you. I was like, that would be you. Like,
Bro,
you're that guy.
And she just goes ahead and signs the sword. But then the way that she gets him to put it back is masterful manipulation. Like, what if the store manager sees you? Like, perfect way to get out of an awkward situation. So Carol's smart.
Carol's very smart.
Very smart.
I wonder, so we know this. There are things we know. Carol's smart. She doesn't have a relationship with her family.
She was good under pressure.
Good under pressure. She was okay. I mean, I'm thinking of when she was in the bar. She went
and ran and got to the truck once the breathalyzer interlock locked her out of a car. She just she didn't even think and stop. She just went and she saw the signboard to put Helen on it. Like, she was responding.
She was, but I mean, and who would even say like how we would react in that situation? But then it's like she gets to the hospital and everyone's seizing at the hospital, and she still tries to get her on a stretcher in there. And I was like, what are you going to do? What's the next move? Like, you're in there and then what? Like, there's no one.
So maybe she's got short-term tactical thinking, but not sort of long-term wisdom thinking.
And we see that throughout. Like when she's digging the grave, it's like, she's like, this is what I have to do. But it's just like the the ideas are there, but not the execution.
Right.
And we do continue to see that. And I think that that's going to be part of her personality moving through this season, is that she's impulsive and then she has remorse after her impulsive behavior.
Right.
And I think that that is an interesting and relatable personality trait. I mean, you need to know the lens I'm coming from a psychological.
I think you're a perfect person for this show coverage, because we can look at Carol very much, because she asks them, do you have anything you can give me so that I stop
she doesn't
having these reactions?
She doesn't want it. She doesn't want this like reactive personality.
Right.
She's realizing,
but yet when she's in it, she's like full on, like, double middle fingers to everybody.
In psych diagnosis, like kind of one of the rules for diagnosis is, does it negatively affect your life?
Right.
Like, you can be however you want, of course, but it's only pathology when it starts negatively affecting your life in several different areas, like at work and home and school, things like that. So she's starting to understand that this behavior is negatively affecting not just her life, but millions and millions,
11 million people,
because you popped off, so I think that's going to be a really interesting piece moving forward for her, is how she comes to terms, and is she forced to continue to put this mask on just for survival? And that's not a sustainable way to live, right? So
So I've got a couple of other observations that occurred to me when I was watching it. I've done a bit of flying in my life. I don't have any platinum lifetime medallions, but I've been on a few planes, and I noticed that Carol was sitting in the worst frickin' row she could be sitting in.
Right?
Because that's the seat that doesn't recline. It's against the bulkhead of the mid-cabin bathroom.
Like, why would you not sit in first class? Sit anywhere else.
Anywhere else, unlike Air Kumba.
So dumb. I was like losing my mind at that. And then we meet the other characters who are leaning in more. And I was like, I think that would be me. I do. But go on. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
And then there was another scene where she's looking at the sun hat. And she tosses it. She looks at it and she's like, what? And then she tosses it like a Frisbee over the fence, in blatantly disregarding her own well-being of working under the Albuquerque sun. Already been given a warning about, hey, you're getting close to being, heat exhausted here.
Right.
Sunburn, blah, blah, blah. She tosses it aside.
She's so defiant.
So what occurred to me is that Carol is somebody who doesn't believe that she is deserving of love and care and attention. And that's further evidenced by your observation of she doesn't have any family outside of Helen. So she's found one person in the world that she can lock in with, and everybody else gets the false front.
Yeah.
But she doesn't feel that she can... She isn't somebody that she believes for herself that she is deserving of happiness, of deserving of love, to love and be loved, beyond this little thing. And again, in the hospital, when she grabs the stretcher and like knocks the one guy in the back or knocks the bartender over, if we haven't said it already, but this is a deeply funny show.
It's very funny.
It's very, very funny.
Like in a way that you feel bad laughing at.
Right.
But it's like, not campy, like that's not the right word, but it is like, it's not funny, haha, but it's a thinker. Like there are funny moments. And I'm wondering, as maybe this is the thesis of this whole show, is she feels like self-deprecating, like she's not deserving of happiness. Yeah. So she's like, I mean, that's a bigger question of her as a character. Like she's pushing it all away because she doesn't think she's worthy of it. So I'm wondering how that's going to play out moving forward. And she's so resentful of others who do find that happiness, right? And like, how dare you be happy?
And, or she sees it in other people. And I think you're right, is resentful. She's resentful that she doesn't feel it, But the reason that she doesn't feel it is because of her own defenses that she set up, the psychological hall of mirrors that she's created for herself
Right.
over the years and what all the different things that she's gone through in her life. And all of those defenses to try to make that we all do. We all build these things, right? I don't know. I'm using pop psychology terminology here, but the beliefs that we have about ourselves and who we can be in the world, they're like doctrinal. They're like written in law book to us. This is the way that I live my life. And if you don't have somebody to help you think that through, or if you're not, if you just accept your own judgments about yourself.
Well, there's a lot of different theories of the self. And one that I think is thrown off a lot by the premise of this show, and one that I attach to a lot is it's called the looking glass self theory, right?
Okay.
You know what a looking glass is. A lot of my students don't. I have to explain it to them like they're
That's
dummies.
Hilarious. Okay.
I was born in the 1900s and I know things. But the looking glass, it's a mirror for our newer listeners, like Alice through the looking glass, whatever. The looking glass self theory says in order for me to be myself, I need someone else to project that back onto me. So I can't, and how you identify your self concept, maybe for me, I am a teacher, right? I am a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a kind person. In order for me to be those things, I need other people to view me that way, or I'm not. And I say to my students all the time, to be a teacher, I need more than a degree and knowledge and a whiteboard and a marker and a projector and a classroom. I need you to be sitting in that classroom looking at me like a teacher. Otherwise, I'm just a weirdo talking to myself. I feel like that most days anyway.
What's a podcaster without a listening audience?
Right. You're just two people talking.
Recording
right?
or conversation.
Right? Just having a conversation. Weird. So I think that in the premise of this show, there is no individual reflecting back to you. It's a collective unconscious reflecting back to you. That's kind of all knowing, and you can't mask around them because they know it all. Right. As much as you've shared with others. So whoever you're most intimate with, if they're part of this unconscious, which it's convenient for the plot that her lover is, because now they all know her in a way that no one else does. The show would be a lot different if that never happened. So it's an interesting plot convention that Helen shared her consciousness before she died. Right?
Yeah.
Because if
that's
she didn't,
super interesting.
We could keep we could keep Carol at a distance, but now we're intimate with her, this collective unconsciousness. I'm saying we because I feel like I would be part of the joined. I feel like I'd be very into it.
Yeah, we could talk about
very into that idea. And she's not able to keep that mask on as tight as she was without that inner knowledge. It's really fascinating.
And then I think part of Carol's freak out is a little bit warranted because she is.
I'm sorry. Part of it is a little warranted.
Part of it is not killing 11 million. Killing 11 million people.
The whole world goes into seizure, and you're just there, and maybe you freak out, maybe a little.
Well, I forget the one guy. He said she didn't know. Right? We didn't know that was a thing, so now we know it's a thing. So don't do it again. Right? Geez, Louise. So the idea that Helen is in that. Helen's memories, and oh man, there's a whole bunch of how does that happen? How do they capture how does the hive mind collect Helen's memories as she's passed, or all of the people who have passed, and where's that stored?
Oh, it's a dream come true.
Oh man. But the idea that they could at any time invoke Helen, and they do a couple of times. Remember that pepper bacon that you had in that place and what have you. And
she was comforted in that moment. She was you could see it in her face. She's such a good actress. That.
That's what I'm saying.
She was they almost had her.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, that actually does sound nice. Maybe champagne on the beach does sound nice. Right.
But yet they're holding back a whole bunch of just putting Helen in her face. Hey, this individual is now Helen. And may not look like Helen, but I'm speaking like Helen. I'm speaking sense to you like Helen would speak sense to you. I'm here for you. Let me hold you. Let me make you your favorite meal or whatever.
Right.
But they don't do that.
It's really nurturing. It's like soft and nurturing in a way that feels comfortable. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the point of it, is to make her comfortable so they can indoctrinate her. I mean, that's the point of it, but they don't. Like, whatever. I'm thinking steps ahead.
To fix you.
So, yeah, they're going to fix her. Right. Wow.
And they have to know about her alcoholism. Right. And then I think it's an interesting thing about the alcohol as well is because it's both the self-medication, but we also know that it's also a physiological response.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody who is addicted to alcohol, there's you'll be able to separate this out a little bit more. There's some behavioral stuff in there, but there's some hardcore physiology in there.
Real quick, like alcohol is the only drug that you can die from detoxing from.
Wow, okay.
Which is wild when you think about how like available it is. Like other drugs, like, yes, of course, if you detox from opiates, you're going to feel very sick. It's going to feel like you're dying. And there might be some comorbidity that causes death with that detox.
Okay.
But alcohol alone, like, you need a safe medical detox. You need like benzodiazepine to wean you off of it. You can't just stop cold turkey. You will have seizures, which is interesting. Wow. That's like interesting, the seizure piece.
Yeah, isn't that interesting, right? Because she kind of blacks out and trips and or whatever, and then she causes them to seize.
It's actually really scary. You know, like when alcoholics will like get shaky, they'll get the delirium tremens or the shakes. Mm-hmm. That is a nervous system reaction to the. So imagine that, but on a broader scale. Yeah, right. It's really sad and scary.
I heard a radio, something on terrestrial radio, actually, one day. I was reading
terrestrial radio.
Yeah, exactly. Linear radio. I don't know. What do we call it? Radio. My daughter doesn't even know what radio is. She's like, what do you mean I can't just
we listen to the radio quite a bit, which is so funny.
Good.
In my car. It's a relic.
But that there is a new drug or a newish drug on the market that for a percentage of the population, they can take this and it actually stops the cravings for alcohol and completely. Yeah. And the conversation I was hearing was part of the conversation that I dropped in on was how there's the within the whole 12-step world and Alcoholics Anonymous and all that kind of stuff, that it's sort of taking that world away because there's a whole lot of like 3/4 of the people now don't need that anymore or don't engage in that anymore because they can just take a pill and they're done. Then that's like, whoa, like, but there's all these truths. There's this almost religious like process of
well, it's interesting because it might, I mean, the drug is called naltrexone and that's the brand name of it. But it'll reduce the physiological cravings, but it doesn't change the psychological addiction and the social addiction. Like our culture is so engaged in social drinking. Yep. And it doesn't seem that way for Carol because even when her partner isn't drinking, she is. So it does seem more physiological and more self-medicating for her from what we've seen. But also like the use of this drug is great because you won't die from detox. Right. But you still need therapy to work on like why you're self-medicating in the first place to treat any comorbid conditions. So comorbid means like conditions that are occurring at the same time. Like a lot of people, if they feel anxious, they'll have like social anxiety and alcoholism like comorbidly together because they're medicating their anxiety with alcohol. They're medicating their depression with alcohol or like past childhood trauma, like you name it.
Which I think is we could assume that Carol is dealing with something that
there's something. That's just the way that her presentation is. Like there's something in her past that I'm excited to learn about from a clinical standpoint. But I do wonder about, we're getting sidetracked and I love it. I wonder about this alcohol drug. It's good harm reduction for sure, and I'm pro harm reduction generally. But unless we treat that comorbid condition, we're not going to like clear the cobwebs of a person's psyche. We're just going to help them not have seizures.
And I guess it's up to the individual in that regards too, because were you doing it for years and years because of self-medicating trauma, or is it, I took a drink one time and my physiology clicked on? I mean, I'm saying once, but there's just a near instant physiological response.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wonder how all that's going to play out in this show.
Yeah.
As we move forward, because it can't go on like this. And we're already seeing her have like these real moments of remorse and really out of control, spiraling moments. And that just can't continue through the arc of a show. Like Vince Gilligan's got to do. So he's not setting it up for no reason.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
he's setting it up to go somewhere. And I think we know
you are a
to know
TV
that.
podcaster. You're looking down the tracks already at the railroad.
Right. Like this is like the beginning of a bigger arc.
Okay, there's going to be so much more to talk about Carol, I think, for the whole season. And her character is super fascinating. So, but I think maybe what we'll do now is take a quick break. And then when we come back, let's talk about The Joined.
I can't wait.
And we're back. Okay, The Joined. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm calling them. That's just sort of, I think, did I hear that maybe on another podcast?
That's what they call themselves.
Okay. It makes sense, right? I don't know what else to say. Are they human? Are they still human beings? Physiologically, they're humans?
They have to be physiologically human because they're dying.
Right.
Right? So
basal skull fracture. That's what happened to Helen, by the way, is she conked the back of her head. That's
what that's what I was
just a little pointer. When they're in the hospital parking lot and she's in the back of the pickup truck.
Yeah, she has like black eyes.
Yeah, that's a clear sign that reddening around her nose and her eyes. That's indicative of a skull fracture. So I think she cracked the back of her skull when she fell backwards.
Well, that's a lot of.
Some people were questioning, like, did she have a heart attack? Like, did she what happened? And I think that's pretty clear to me. That's what happened.
Yeah, and I was noticing that a lot, and that was a question, like, in this world of ultimate happiness, like how. It's not even happiness; it's more compliance. But that's a different. We're not going to get in the weeds.
Ooh, that's a loaded compliance.
It's not happiness; it's just compliance, which maybe is happiness. I don't know. Not for Carol. That's the opposite. But whatever. One thing at a time.
But you would comply. You said you're on record as wanting to comply.
I think that I would just go the path of least resistance. Like I don't know. I spend so much of my time taking care of other people. Like, it'd be pretty nice, like, just to comply.
In that situation, you would be biologically incapable of complying because you're immune, right? And they're trying to fix you or fix the 13. That's an interesting number, 13.
Right.
Because there's 11 initially plus 1, Carol, 12. And then they find a 13th guy who's in Paraguay. Who, spoilers, we see a clip in the trailer of a guy driving a convertible
he's going to be a big deal for sure. Like we need him. He's going to be the one for sure.
Exactly.
So I had this thought, when everyone joined up in this like Borg type of moment.
So many sci-fi things. Like my brain was flashing all over the different things. Even Station 11, not Station 11, but the Eternaut. I don't know if you saw the Eternaut.
No, I haven't.
Oh, so good. But yeah. And then Vince Gilligan's on record as saying Invasion of the Body Snatchers is one of his homages that he's paying.
And that's like the main thing that I wrote down is when people joined up and a lot of people died because of just like collateral damage of falling. I thought it was really interesting that some of them didn't fall. They were just like standing. The waitress.
I know.
Was standing holding the beer. And I was like, there's no way she'd be able to hold that beer. It was a great like effect. It looked great. But I'm just thinking physiologically. I had a hard time with that part of it, but
But we saw different responses from different people.
Right.
And so in that moment, she locked. Or the baby on the counter, right? The baby carriage didn't start sliding until she started. She was vibrating so much, she started, moving.
I was so glad that they didn't show the baby when, I was like, if they show the baby, I was like, I'm out. Like, I can't deal with that right now.
What's it like for a baby's conscious? What happens when somebody's pregnant and a baby? When does the baby's consciousness join the collective?
Oh my gosh. Whoa. This is what a lovely question. When does consciousness enter a human? Wow. Yeah. I do
and
not
then to join the collective?
Will the placenta work? What? I don't think we're gonna solve that question.
I don't think so.
On her, like,
This is this is
Pluribus
for the Reddit boards to play with.
podcast. Like, when does we'd answer a lot of questions. We'd figure a lot if we could figure when consciousness entered the body.
Right.
I have opinions for sure, but I don't know if this.
And then
is
that gets into a whole social, political,
and like religious thing too.
Exactly.
Like, when do you have to be touched to have consciousness? Like, does some spirit come and deem you conscious?
Right.
And
all of that goes away. I mean, this is a John Lennon kind of thing. Imagine no borders, no war. You know, what's the Imagine song? I'm trying to remember the lyrics of the song, but you know, this is a John Lennon song in a way,
right?
Because
even the needle drop at the end of episode 2 was a Beatles song, but in a different language.
Oh, is that it's a Turkish artist?
I don't know, but I thought of my co-host Mark. I was like, oh, Mark's losing his mind now.
It was a Beatles song? No.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I might be wrong.
I didn't Shazam it
him.
yet. So.
Yeah. Yes, The Joined, right? How much do you know about Carl Jung and the collective unconscious? Like, do we need a primer?
I know enough from sitting around coffee shops in Seattle, smoking a lot of cigarettes and talking a lot of bullshit. So that's what I know. So I know it exists. I know the basic theory of it. But beyond that, I don't have any academic layered knowledge.
Can I give like a quick 2 minutes just to like, so we can like stabilize our information?
Yeah, so we get all on the same page. Yes. So we can all be we can all be together in the same information.
Like joined up. So, okay. Come along with me on this journey.
Lorehounds. Okay. No, you're a Lorehound. This is what we're doing.
I think it's happening. So Carl Jung is a psychologist, right? Came up with Freud. Like, Jung and Freud were friends and worked really closely with each other until they weren't. For a variety of very salacious reasons, but that's a different podcast. So
some reasons?
No, not even. Freud said he didn't want to be friends with Jung anymore because Jung was having sex with his patients.
Oh, okay.
Which is like, this is a shorthand version, which is so surprising because you think if anyone, it would be Freud.
Right.
But no.
But he was the prude. He was the prude.
Freud was the prude and said, like, no, like, I can't hang. This is Nichole speaking, but like, I can't hang out with you anymore because like, you're creepy and weird. And Jung was like, you're the one that's creepy and weird, but that's a different, like I said.
I thought, did both of them consume narcotics?
Oh yeah. Well, stimulants. Yeah. They all cocaine mostly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's what I thought. That's why I did the sniffing sound.
That was just like the style at the time. You know, we have to think of time and place with Freud. Like, we didn't know. We were drinking cocaine in Coca-Cola.
Right. In Coca. Yeah, exactly.
So like, whatever. Housewives were using meth to clean their houses.
Helpers. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
to get through the day, the oppressiveness of the hell of the suburban existence.
Sounds great. I mean, give me a stimulant and a A-line dress and I'll vacuum my whole house. Like, I'm into trad wifing right now. But again, we need to stay
Consume
focused.
responsibly. Consume responsibly.
For sure. The views expressed here do not represent the views of my employer. So Freud. Okay. Freud believed that our self was made up of several different parts. His theory was that like we are an iceberg, right, floating in this ocean,
right,
and the parts of our subconscious, like our id, and part of our superego, which is like the devil and angel that sit on our shoulders and guide our decisions, live below the surface for the most part. And then Jung came along and said, "That's great. Yes, we all have this subconscious part."
I'm almost relating it to it like Newtonian physics and what's the other?
Dude, I have no idea.
Just that there's a classical world that work. Yeah, we work like that, and then there's this whole other thing going on. There's whole other physics
internally and like underground everything else.
Exactly.
And Freud said, yes, this part that lives under the surface is mostly this id, this like pleasure principle, this guiding force that wants us to run the red light, stay up too late, make bad decisions. And Jung went on and said, yes, we all have this shadow self, but we also have all of these other personas that live in our subconscious. And we don't have to get into all of his archetypes now, but it'll come up. And my guess is in this show, my guess is we're going to be able to make connections between all of the people that haven't joined and each of the Jungian archetypes. I'm going to go on record to say I think we're going to be able to like map it back. But
interesting.
We'll see.
Okay.
So Jung said, cool, Freud's right. We're all this iceberg. We're all like floating in an ocean, but we're all in the same ocean. So my unconscious is like picking up currents or things on the current from your subconscious or unconscious state.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this is about, that we are all joined in that like collective unconscious. We all have like a presenting persona, but underneath it all, we're sharing ideas without even talking. And one thing I loved about this show, especially the start of episode 2, was it was so quiet because they don't have to talk.
Right.
They just like know what to do.
Exactly.
She just knows that I'm going to go and get on this plane. And when I somehow fly this giant plane, I'm not going to hit these people as I take off. They know it. They're right.
God.
And then I'm going to arrive at the airport and they're going to be ready for me to like give me I really wanted a better makeover montage, but that's fine.
Yo, that makeup tray when she turned that little knob and it like flipped open like a flower petal.
I was like, that needs to be the merch. Like, where do I get that? I want the makeup
that
tray.
Was amazing. My daughter would flip.
Oh, mine too. 1,000,000%. So it was just that like the depersonalized, like rhythmic movements.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them were just like one shots. It was really beautiful.
Apparently, the actor who's playing Zosha learned how to taxi that plane, that real plane. She actually learned how to start the engines and actually drive that C-130 on the tarmac.
What is the flipping budget for this show?
$15 million an episode.
That's
crazy.
Like I love
That's a number TV. I heard. I haven't validated that myself.
Think of how many people you could feed with that money.
Yes.
Like, I love TV. And that's a lot of money, man.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of people who are employed, people in Tangier, people in Bilbao.
Yeah, this is good. This is the perspective I need. Thank you. I just had there was a shock. I wish you could see my face right now. I was like, that's unbelievable.
They built a facade of Air Force One. Apparently, like that's a aluminum facade.
Built Carol's neighborhood.
Yeah, built Carol. Like that cul-de-sac is entirely built because they didn't. Vince Gilligan apparently feels bad about the fact that everybody goes to Walter White's house and throws pizza on the roof of that house.
I get that, and I think that that's good. Like, yes, the employment and like the production of it. Like, yes, this is what we need to be focusing on. But I noticed it when they helicoptered in the backhoe. I was like, what's happening here? like what?
And the cuts, the way it just cut perfectly.
Like, here it is.
Yeah, there's another way. And you're like, oh my God, this is
okay. And then that's when I started thinking, like, I want that. Like, I want to be joined. And I didn't I don't know the character's name. You're going to, because you're better than me. But like the guy with like the fancy suits and all the models, and he was really leaning in like a yucky way.
A Kombu, right? I had his name up before, but I lost it.
I didn't love that.
I have so many screens open on my computer right now trying to track all the notes that I've got. I've got like 4 different note documents for this.
It's a lot. We're spiraling. But I started thinking of, he's exploiting the situation in a way that isn't great. And I don't think I would do that. But I do like the idea of being
Kumba Diabate.
I think I need a nickname for him.
Yeah, Kumba.
Okay, that's fine. I wonder, I think about, gosh, this is going to get weirder. Like, are they just slaves? All these joined people? And the fact that there are people that aren't joined up, they're kind of in charge. They're in a power position, right? So, you think like, would you want it or not? Would you want to join them? It would only work if everyone's on the same page. It would only work if it's everybody. So
Zosha says something at lunch that's interesting, that it's like a biological imperative for them to share the RNA. She says it's an imperative for us because Carol is challenging her about agency. Who got to choose to join the collective? And she's like, we we can't not do it. It's just we're just programmed to procreate in this way, so to speak. I'm using procreate very loosely, but we can't not do this thing. But there is a question of agency, right?
Well, I think all of it is like a lot of it is a question of agency, right? Like, I wonder, if it's a biological imperative, now they're complying. The joined are operating with compassion and with like, what was the word? With like, they're nurturing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince them. But if all it takes is a kiss, well, no, I guess not for these people.
So there's a big debate going around the podcast spheres, whether chemtrails or contrails. That when they're outside smoking and they see Carol sees all the planes flying over. At first, I thought it was just them going out into the world and they're sending all these planes to do it. But I'm more convinced that those are chemtrails. They're thicker and fuzzier. They're kind of a different than normal contrails. And then we never see in the bar who is the instigator of spreading the virus. It hits the guy in the truck and hits everybody, Helen included, and everybody in the bar sort of at the same time.
Yeah.
So if those are droplets, so the transmission is droplets. It's not a kiss. A kiss is an efficient way to move those droplets. I suppose you could spit on somebody or sneeze at them.
Or like lick their donut.
Yeah, lick their donut.
And it's so funny because I don't know if you clocked this, and the sign under the donuts, it says like, help yourself.
Yes.
And I'm stuck on that. Like, because of such like a Vince Gilligan thing to do, like of all the words you could use.
Yeah.
It's such a double entendre. It's so,
yes.
I'm tickled by that. Like, help yourself.
Yourself. Yeah. What is yourself?
Right. Yeah. It's just like a lot to process. But the joined and collective unconsciousness, I love is
there any more Jungian that we need to know about?
I think for now we'll leave it there. I'm excited to make more connections. I think that there's a lot that's going to bubble up about just theories of self in general. And I'm eager to see what happened. Like, so I was saying a minute ago that, right now they're being very nurturing, but if it's a biological imperative, it's got to flip. Like if their mission biologically is to assimilate everybody, it's only a matter of time before the whole collective unconsciousness of the 7 billion people that exist, less 13, right?
Less 800 million.
Right. Like team up to somehow find a way to
do what?
Do what?
That's my question is do what?
Like even round them all up and put them in a prison somewhere just to get them out of the way. Even just that.
You mean the non-infected?
Yeah. Like,
yeah. I don't think they're going to harm them.
I don't know, but just kill them. Like they could.
They could. And then they just wouldn't have that problem. My question is, what next?
Right.
Now that everybody's in sync. Okay, so setting aside questions of agency, setting aside questions of erasing identity. And in our country, in the United States, in this concurrent time period, identity is very important to a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And there's a lot of people who, because their identities are suppressed or actively boxed in, politically, socially, whatever, that they don't have representation. They don't have the ability to walk around the streets in the clothes that they feel naturally. Right? There's all kinds of who they want to marry. All of these questions of representation. So we're just going to shove that all aside for a moment.
Yeah, it's fine.
Not gently and lovingly. We're going to just step sideways.
Because we're not going to solve those problems here.
No.
But to think of this show as a commentary on that and a metaphor towards it, I don't think is abstract. I don't think that's far-fetched.
No, it's very, very real to us now.
Yes.
But so setting that aside, my question is, what next? However they deal with the 13 and whether they're able to fix them or not, that is a small and minor aspect of 6.2 billion people. I'm subtracting the 800
when
million.
like 11 million died because Carol.
Right. Right. Well, yeah. It was
had a tantrum.
They quoted 800 million dying in the once they went global with the joining.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the however many billions of people on the earth. If you think about, I was thinking about this the other day, that a huge amount of our energy and resources as a society, at national levels and at global levels, is all about managing us and managing our different perspectives and attitudes and beliefs and values about things. Mm-hmm. Stop signs. Why do you need a stop sign? Because people are just going to drive through the intersection unless there is some sort of, when the advent of the cars, we saw that there were horrific traffic accidents.
Oh, gosh.
Why do we need TSA?
Yeah. We need social control.
We need social control.
Yeah.
And when you're joined, you don't need social control anymore. So all of that effort of structuring and ordering society is now freed up.
Yeah.
And now those people, all of us collectively, can do what? Once we get the fires out and, we collect the bodies and we stabilize the electrical grids and, do all of those things.
Yeah.
What happens next? What is the purpose now of society? Because if I'm not living with friction in my daily life, what am I doing? What is my purpose?
Right.
What am I?
Even this idea of purpose, like, is so individual. Like,
right.
You have to think, if we have to segregate into certain orders in a population, like we need we need farmers and doctors and, waste management workers.
Yep.
Where
essentials who we treated like shit during the pandemic and then now still take advantage of.
Does it become kind of like
a small rant there?
What's that? Oh, the Lorehounds are going to kill me. What's the book? And they made it
we just
into
want
a
you to be
movie.
happy.
I don't know. Where like everyone's and they made a Jennifer Lawrence movie about it. It's not The Giver, but it's like something like that. Not Divergent, maybe. Where like you're all. They're going to come at me on Discord, but that's
nicely.
Of course, like tell me, write in and tell me that like everyone's assigned a job.
I think that's Divergence. I've only seen parts of the movies.
I think so.
Yeah, I never read the books.
It was a book, and then
there's like 4 different groupings of classes.
Yes, and if she's Divergent because she's not one of them. But is it
such a teen angst movie?
I loved it. Right? I loved it so much I didn't remember it. But I wonder if it becomes that type of thing. Like someone has to do these jobs, right? And if we're all trained to be doctors, if we're all trained to be neuroscience and NASA engineers and waste management workers, so we all have it. Who's going to do what? Like, how are we going to sort? And someone has to be the mastermind of that. Like there has to be leadership, right?
But I think that is the real science fiction question of the show. It's not an RNA signal from space. That's science fiction-y. I think the real science fiction of this show is you and I and the listeners and the communities and all the different people who are talking about the show all over the world right now, considering what does a leaderless society look like?
Right.
And how does it operate when you don't have any kind of centralized control? The Borg had the Queen, Queen Borg. There was a central control, even though all the drones were sort of equal. Ants, is the Queen just termites, any other sort of hive colonies? Are they centralized? Is the Queen the central control, or is she just the focus of the reproductive engine of the collective?
Or like honeybees. I know we talked about bee brains at the start of the episode, but the hive mind, right?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that what this is? Like, who's in the middle of the hive? Who's central? Because it has to be something. It has to be something.
It's certainly not the undersecretary for I wrote it down here somewhere.
I loved him so much. That's when I was like, oh, is this show like funny? Because he was like, and I had a suit on. I was like, that's
this individual
hilarious.
is undamaged.
This individual is undamaged, and I have a suit. So a way
Davis
to go.
Taffler, Undersecretary
Yes.
of Agriculture for Farm Production and Conservation. It's a real role.
I'm sure it is.
He's so good.
But
And the Chirons, we're not aliens.
So funny. It was really, really funny to me.
Deeply funny.
So there was just a lot of that like campiness that really tickled me throughout, and also having these like much broader, much deeper like psychosocial themes made me realize that like, okay, this is the show for me. Like I think that it's the perfect combination of like like visual mastery, like good production value, great production values, and like solid themes and like a little bit of comedy. And that's why Vince Gilligan's awesome, because he can do all of it.
So I want to read Tara's email that she sent in, the TCS on Discord. But first, I want to just point out anecdotally that that's evidence for the collective unconscious that as this show was bubbling out in the collective consciousness, and then I needed to talk to Nichole about something else, and then I happened to bring up I needed a partner for covering the show. I don't know. That's pretty good collective unconscious evidence.
There's a lot of actual experimental evidence about the collective unconsciousness. Like there was this study they did with crossword puzzles that they gave a sample of people like yesterday's New York Times puzzle, and they solved it quicker than today's New York Times puzzle because the answers were already out in the world. Right? Like if you solved yesterday's Wordle, statistically, you'll do it quicker than today's. I'm paraphrasing huge amounts of literature.
Huge amounts.
That's what.
Well, then there's the theory of the 100th monkey. There's that whole thing as well, which was around. Maybe I have to look into that a little bit more to remember. But I remember during the 80s and the nuclear scare, there was this idea about how can we change the consciousness of the planet, and it's the 100th monkey theory, where you can, if you get enough people thinking about peace, like peace will happen, kind of thing.
Well, maybe that's what it is. But in this show here in Pluribus, they're also not able to disappoint anybody, which is going to get weird.
She says, Xerxes says, like, I can't choose because one of you will become unhappy, and that is antithetical to my being.
But you can see that they want to choose. You can see that they have it. I clocked that. Like you could see that she wanted to stay with her. And she was just on a train not to. There's so much. I can't wait. I can't wait till the next episode. But let's read the email.
Let's read Tara's email. Hello, David and Nichole. I really enjoyed these first 2 episodes, and I'm looking forward to your discussions. David put some world building thoughts in the Discord, and I thought I would add some thoughts here about what rules apply for the joined and, by extension, the unjoined. Here's what I'm sure is an incomplete of things that we know so far. Yeah. So the other day I was thinking about what we know, and what are the rules, because the rules seem to be pretty well being followed so far in 2 episodes. And so I was trying to think of what are those rules. And so I posted those and to ask, like, what else are people observing? So Tara wrote back, the things they won't do, the no's, killing animals, letting people say no to joining, inferred when Carol asks that in episode 1 and they don't answer, make any choice that will make the unjoined unhappy. Things they can and will do, the yeses, clearing out Carol's whole neighborhood when she asks for space, letting all who consent to get together, getting any plane anyone wants, which is an interesting,
wild,
damaging to the environment and therefore humanity. But of course, we don't have we don't have that many planes flying anymore. So sexual servitude.
Yeah.
To me, this begs the question of how far the joined can be taken towards harming themselves or humanity. Zeroing in on Mr. Diatabes, who seemed to be taking the most advantage of the situation, could he make the joined participate in extreme activities? That's a good question. If so, how extreme? If that gives him a thrill, does that person then tap into the most thrill-seeking joined person on the planet? If so, what happens to the psyche of the person who once inhabited the body, whom, from what we are seeing, is still there, right? This is great,
much.
Tara. At least at times, I love our community. At least at times, maybe it is just suppressed or moved. What if he wants a joined person to actually be scared? I think that you can see the path that I'm on. There seems to be two paths I'm walking as I type. The moral, ethical of what is happening to the original person in the joined bodies. There is questions about soul psyche here. And then the practical, mechanical. What are the rules?
Right.
Are there things like Asimov's 3 laws of robotics? Will they add the equivalent of a zeroth law added here for context? A robot may not harm humanity or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm. I love that she brought up the Asimov rules. So good.
So much.
Apologies that I got a bit rambly here at the end. Happy to hear y'all's thoughts on any of this. Tara, the TCS. Thank you, Tara. This is a great kickoff email for feedback.
Okay.
So rich.
Yes. And it's a good point. Like, could one morally compromised other, what are we calling them? The unjoined others? What are we saying?
Yeah, I've been sort of thinking of them as the other in my notes, the unjoined or the uninfected.
Unjoined.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah, I'm going to keep other for now. But what if there's one morally corrupt other?
Yeah.
Can they essentially act as a virus for everybody else and infect them with their by manipulating the existing psyche of what's left of that individual. And then because it's a collective unconsciousness, it spreads throughout.
Oh, you're saying the joined? Like what if there's well, yeah, I think that's an interesting question because what do you do with schizophrenia? What if there's a biological individual who's joined that has schizophrenia? How does that collective memory action work?
And like, does mental illness
bipolar,
borderline, I mean, multiple personality.
Yeah.
Or we call it dissociative identity.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Like, are they going to address that? Or is
I don't think so.
But then you,
in a way, because I
it's just like too much, right? But then you have to think like, yeah, there are some schizophrenias, or oh gosh, it's so much. Like, I don't even know where to start. Because you think like a lot of these are, maybe we wouldn't be so anxious if we didn't have like the weight of the world on us as individuals. And if we're sharing that weight with this collective unconsciousness, maybe anxiety goes away. But like some things wouldn't go away. Like schizophrenia is biological for the most part. Like dissociative identity disorder is rooted in really severe childhood trauma. So maybe like for generations that doesn't go away. But and like, oh gosh, I'm crashing out. And like, what about babies? What about babies? Like when babies are born, are they born all knowing? Like, what about
what happens when somebody passes away? Right? What happens?
And then there's just so many. Like if people pass away, but they don't ever, their consciousness never leaves. After a while, it's just going to get too crowded in the collective unconsciousness. There's just going to be too many.
Trying to scroll back to
my gosh. I'm losing my mind on this.
Okay. Well, I think we should move on. So
I can't wait to see how much they scratch at because there's so much.
Yeah. So a couple of the other things that I pointed out on the Discord is that the RNA is transmitted by saliva. So I think it's a disservice to call it a virus.
Yeah.
Because a virus has a biological function to reproduce itself. It's an organism in and of itself. This is a messenger chemical that changes that when introduced to human DNA and RNA changes the human condition, right? It is the RNA sequence that was transmitted is not an organism of itself.
No, it's like CRISPR.
Right. It's technology. They even said we've been affected by alien technology, which I think is also interesting because they say something. Oh, she's like, "Are you guys aliens?" And Taffler says, "Oh, there's no aliens on this planet." Now we don't know. They don't. All of the joined here. We don't know that there is some sort of message encoded in the RNA that says, "Yeah, there's aliens out by Cygnus, 600 million light years away or something."
Maybe like this is just like beta testing. Right? They're like, let's take this big population, just like beta test this RNA and see what happens. Maybe we're just an experiment like this petri dish.
Is DNA, I mean, that opens another question of how it, and what is affected on Earth by this RNA? Is it only mammalian species? And we've only seen rats. Right? We don't know they talk about zoos and dogs and stuff like that, but we don't know what's happening to lizards or fish
or whales or dolphins.
Exactly.
Maybe are even smarter than us anyway.
Right.
What if all the whales are just hey.
Organizing?
There's organizing in the ocean. Jeez Louise.
Some other rules: transformation and joining are a process that incapacitates the individual while the RNA is processing in their system. Right. We have collective consciousness with individual memory identification. And obviously they have the subset of that is skill transfer, right? You can drive a backhoe or fly a C-130.
Yeah, that was a big question I had, was the skill transfer. Is it semantic memory it's semantic memory and episodic memory. It's all the memories.
I was totally thinking of you when I was thinking about that. I was like, what kind of memory is this? And what happens when
we can get into all that. I don't think today's the day, but it is both. It's a skill-based memory. Everyone knows how to fly a plane and perform gynecological surgery, I guess. Weird. That was weird. But then also,
but deeply funny when she's talking about his hands and doing an examination.
I almost threw up.
I'm sorry.
But also, everyone knows episodic memories of Carol's life, that she liked that certain bacon and they went on vacation at this certain place.
Exactly.
And that's just a lot of memories times 8 billion, 7 billion, So, okay, go on. I'm sorry.
And then the last one is joined members are pacified and become vegetarian. Right. Because
and that's going to be, we're going to run out. We're going to run out at some point.
What happens? How do you maintain nutritional, the human body needs protein. So can you get enough protein? I mean, I know that there are vegetarians in our community who could probably educate us on how you sustain human physiology over time without using animal-based proteins, but plant-based proteins or other kinds.
Well, maybe it's just if they die now. I don't know. That's going to be, they're setting that up to be a plot point, I think, because there was a lot of conversation about that, and it didn't have to be mentioned, and it was mentioned quite a bit.
Right.
And even probed at quite a bit. It's well, what if I kill the animal?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right? Kumba says, what if I did it? Would you cook it for me?
And that makes the others valuable because maybe they're the ones that are able to do the less, the quote unquote, morally I don't know how I'm going to say this. I'm just going to say it in plain terms.
Sure.
It allows the others to do the gross things that are the aliens I'm calling them now, are not morally engaged in. They can't kill, but I'll keep these 13 around so they can kill the cows for me.
But then you're still framing it as if the alien consciousness, I'm saying alien is in the sense of it's different, alien as being something different.
Yes.
That their consciousness, their alien consciousness has a what you're languaging as a nefarious purpose, enslavement, using.
And they say
things.
That they don't, but I'm suspicious.
Okay. How much do you like things that border on hardcore, heavy mystery and a little bit disturbing stuff?
Oh, very, very much so.
So
very
I would
true crime, culties type of stuff. Yeah, very much.
I would recommend that you watch The Eternaut on Netflix. I think is it a 5 or 6-part miniseries? It's based on a comic book from an Argentinian author. And it's a giant political allegory about what happens to society when they're taken over. And it's framed in a sort of a sci-fi thing, but it's a very famous Argentinian comic that had a limited, and from the 60s. Anthony and I did a one shot on it earlier this year.
I'll probably just listen to that.
Yeah. I was trying to okay, fair enough. But
just send me a link.
It's a really, really, really good show, and it's a great mystery, and it's sort of this sci-fi thing. And I'm not going to say too much more because I don't want to spoil it. But I would, when we talk about the say the opposite of this, where these people are caring and we want you to, what happens when you have a malevolent force that is literally enslaving a population?
Because you have to think, if we're all sharing consciousness, right? Like, Ed Gaines is in there, like Charles Manson's in there.
Right, exactly.
Dahmer's in there, the modern equivalent of, like, there are people in the world that are.
Yeah, all the people in prison right now.
Yeah.
All of that. Yeah. So, okay.
Well, a lot to unpack. Wild.
It is. Let's take one more break. And then when we come back, let's just run through the major blocks of the episode and just call out anything that grabbed our attention, that's residual, or that are like super funny moments, or things that we just want to share for fun. And we're back. Okay. Pretty packed 2 episodes, but it didn't move around a lot. Like we transferred some continents, but it stayed pretty tight in the storyline. So it's not hard to outline these once we get past these 2 episodes. But let's start with the radio observatory. Anything in there that caught your attention or you thought was fun? Or
I thought just initially. Because I did go into this pretty blind, I didn't have a sense of like what the show would be like besides the trailer. I loved the countdown, and then the count up. I can't wait to see how that progresses. I love like a visual like time marker and timestamp. I think that's really helpful as a viewer.
I think it's exactly what it's for, is to give us a frame of reference so that we don't get lost in the because it's so wordless, this show. And the passage of time changes, that we need an external device to help us stay oriented.
And I'm going to make a prediction that it's not going to be linear. I bet that we're going to jump back. Yeah, like especially when we introduce new characters to see where they were at like day one. Like I think it's going to be a real quiet place type of thing. Okay. So I just really loved that. I loved like the vibe of these scientists. They were so nerdy and into it. And to think that like such a big discovery is made by like these guys that are essentially like playing hacky sack, even though like they weren't, but that's in my head they were.
Right. Yeah.
I really just loved. So that was my impression. It just set the tone. I was like, oh, right. Like I love Vince Gilligan.
And then for me, the setting up of the National Radio Observatory, Nancy, thank you. I know you haven't seen the document that she wrote, but she wrote a huge thing about this observatory.
I'm looking at it now, and it's in depth.
Like a ton of information.
It is in depth.
I need to read. I couldn't absorb that and watch the shows. So
no, there's like all different fonts, and it's so many links. It's a lot. And
I'm going to pull some of that out so that for our next episode, I'll cycle back some of that information. So that it doesn't go to waste. But I loved that at the observatory, the way that Gilligan visually sets it up. Wide shots, medium shots, close-ups, and just changing the camera frame. But then he locks the camera and we're still. And then the thing that's moving is the car moving across the frame. That's right. So we've been moving around, but these things don't move quickly, right? So how do we get a sense of something happening? And so he gives us the drama by cutting these scenes, and they're dark. The individual units are all lit up, but it's a dark sky, right? So we get a lot of drama and tension, but then the car moving across the scene gives us the action, gives us the literal movement forward. So I absolutely I felt the moment I saw that set up, I was like, oh, Vince Gilligan is back, baby.
Yes.
Like,
and
this
I was
is
like, oh,
straight
right.
up.
Like, I love it. I like forgot how much, because I didn't watch Better Call Saul. I need to, but I didn't. And Breaking Bad was a long time ago, like a lifetime ago for me. So it was it felt like you're back with an old friend.
Exactly.
Twisted. And I'm here for that.
Here for it. So my other thought is the signal is not going to be important until it is. And I think it's going to play, I think all of the alien stuff, and you can freeze frame when Taffler is talking to Carol. You can see the constellation of Cygnus. You can actually see the planet that they're talking about. I have it linked in here somewhere. You can, I put it in the Discord as well. 1 second here. Let me find that again. It's Kepler 27b. The signal comes from near there. It's not from there, but it's near there because 27b is a gas giant. But like the writers actually, figured out some of this stuff. I heard some other podcasts. They were talking about the, signals and drifts and repeating, like all of this stuff. It feels like they did their due diligence to set all of this up.
For like a 2-minute, like a 5-minute scene.
Exactly. That's not going to be an important anyway. And then we get the montage of the scientists.
I loved the lab stuff. I really like bench work. I think it's really interesting. And like the fact that at this point we see them, we're just seeing like a montage of science stuff. And then, we cut to the bookstore and we've talked about that quite a bit. And then we go back to the lab and in this like bio-isolations chamber, these two scientists that are like kind of over it. They've,
exactly.
They're just like, whatever, like we're not finding anything. Like you got these donuts here. I'm gonna lick them and see like what happens next. But like, they're just like two folks at work on the night shift, you know, and just like taking care of these rats. And
I want to go back to Barnes and Noble really quick.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Just a speculative romance historical fiction.
Yeah.
Romantasy.
Like
I didn't know romantasy was a genre.
Oh my gosh. Stop everything. It's like a huge genre. That's all.
Huge.
That's huge. It's like that's like the big thing now. Like speculative romantic dystopian.
Historical fiction.
Like like smut. We just call it smut.
Right.
And that's what this is. But we try to elevate it with all these big words. But yeah, that's like everything at Barnes and Noble right now marketed towards
I did hear once that once e-readers came into being, that the romance fiction world just exploded because you can read now without anybody seeing what you're reading.
See, I don't love an e-reader, but I do like to read smut in public. So what I do is I just take a jacket of like a neuroscience book and like put it on top. So like you think I'm reading Oliver
she got
Sacks,
the big brain on her,
but really it's the vampire stuff. So
I had another question for you, which is jumping forward actually to the bar when they're in Albuquerque. Did you ever? Personal question. Did you ever smoke when you were?
Oh, I love smoking cigarettes. Yes, I did smoke.
So as a former smoker myself, and I smoked a lot not a lot. I was not it depends. I was very much a social smoker. So when I decided to put it down, I could put it down. I'm pretty lucky that way. But I'm very cognizant of when smoking is depicted on screen and the actor is not old enough to have been a smoker. Right. They're a young 20 something and they don't know how to handle a cigarette right.
It bothers you.
It bothers the shit out of me. Right. Yeah. But I can forgive it because I'm like, they didn't smoke. They don't have the muscle memory that.
Or yes, it bothers me too. Right. But now I smoked for a long time. I still smoke in my dreams, which is really an interesting thing.
Weird.
Like that's how I know I'm dreaming because I'm like looking for buying a pack of cigarettes. I'm like, before we go on this quest, let me go buy some Parliaments.
It's hilarious.
I love it. So delicious.
Anyway,
but it bothers me too.
So when when Carol is out smoking with Helen, she asks, before they go out, she goes, when did you start? She's like, when did you start smoking? Since now, right? So they go out and smoke. Now, Ray Seahorn in Better Call Saul, the part of the character interaction between Saul and aka Jimmy, aka Saul, and Kim Wexler was smoking together, going out on the balcony or down in the parking lot or whatever and smoking. Ray Seahorn knows how to smoke. She knows how to flick. She knows how to light.
Right.
She knows
genuine.
How to absolutely. When she's outside the bar, the way that she's holding her cigarette is as somebody who doesn't know how to smoke.
So for you, that even made you more of a fan of hers.
Acting, yes. Actor, right? This is
she
acting.
Thought of that. Yeah, she thought of that. Yeah.
And my character does not smoke regularly, so it has to act like they don't smoke correctly.
It seemed genuine for sure, like that interaction, that exchange. So it didn't like take me out of it. But because I do notice that as well as a former smoker, that if someone said to me that, I had an expiration date and it was upcoming as a human, like if I knew I was going to die, the first thing I would do is start smoking again.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I love it so much, but I'm not allowed to.
I miss the social going out and hanging and, and all the little social conventions.
Yeah. You get a lot done in cigarette breaks, like with coworkers and stuff. Like, it's like, I don't know. I miss it, but I think that's an interesting thing to observe.
I did hear about a sociological study once around corporations that they were detecting that these ideas were cropping up in these different ways, and they couldn't figure it out because the people who were involved were in different teams or different departments or whatever. They finally traced it back to the fact
they're
that
all smokers.
They're all smokers. And so when they were meeting down at the loading dock, they were exchanging ideas about business practice stuff.
So maybe that's a good play, like we all could be smoking again. I know. It's so expensive. It's like $20. It's like where I live, it's about like $18 for a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah. I used to buy them for $1.35. I used to take my lunch money.
When I quit, they were like $3.50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, moving on.
So I don't know.
Let's talk about because once we get into Albuquerque, once Helen and Carol get back to Albuquerque, there's a whole lot that happens. They go from the sundry store to the vehicle to the bar, and then trying to bury her. What are some little different? We've talked already a whole bunch about this. Or anything else that's residual for you in this scene? In this whole 3/4 of the freaking episode.
I started dialing into the premise with the kids. Like once the kids told her where the key was.
It's so creepy.
I was like,
the children of the corn, creepy kids.
I was like, I get it. Like I know what's happening.
Right.
And the people I was watching with were like, how do they know? I was like, because everybody knows.
Right.
And that's when I was like, wow, this is wild. Because I knew
she's in the hospital parking lot and they all say her name all collectively. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
It was that was like creepy, and it was meant to be like creepy and like jarring. But the kids, I don't know, maybe because I'm a mom, but the kids, like it felt safer and it felt more intimate. And I was like, oh, she's not a threat. Like she's not in danger. And up until that point, I was like, is she in danger? Like when she was driving away in one of those scenes, I think from whatever, it's this awesome one shot of her driving, and in the background, like things are on fire, and you just see people like walking towards her, and then someone starts running. I was like, who's running? Like, is that someone else that is unaffected, like running to catch her? But that person was running to like put out a fire, like she had a fire extinguisher. And I was like, oh, they're not worried about Carol. Carol's like, they're going to get to her later. And I do think that they will. But
how good was that filmmaking of giving us all the action as she was driving? Oh my God.
So good.
How many times did they have to choreograph that? How did they coach the what do you call them? The
pyrotechnic people?
No, the actors that aren't the primary actors. Anyway, those
extras,
people. I'm crashed out. Yeah, we're totally crashed out. The extras, that's what they're called.
Yeah, and then I think, okay, if you have to reset that shot, like that's $1 million. That's $1 million right there, right? So I was really quantifying it a lot. But the only other thing that really stood out to this episode for me, it was like the kid moment felt so genuine and safe that I was like, okay, and she's back home then. And then when they all left, I was like, she's going to be okay. And the pace changed so much from the first into the second episode because you did feel like she was stabilized and she wasn't in danger.
Right.
And there was a huge like dynamic shift between the first and second episode for me.
Massive tonal changes. Yeah.
Massive. And I'm eager to see like what we stick with moving forward. I think it's going to be more of the vibe of that second episode, or maybe it'll shift again. We'll have to what do you guys say? Watch and find out.
Yeah. Watch and find out. I had so many episode 1 homages, Andromeda Strain, Star Trek, Contact, Body Snatcher. Like it was just popping everywhere. Zombies, horror, it was The Rapture, like so many things. And then, episode 2 is a very different beast altogether. So, a couple more things for me for episode 1. I loved the little sundry shop in the airport where
she moves the books. Yeah.
She moves the books, which tells you how ruthless they are in terms of business.
I feel like that's very common to do stuff like that.
Really?
My friends that are writers say that.
How many sales is that? That's just a few, but still, that's ruthlessness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bitter Chrysalis is the name of her unpublished novel. Bitter Chrysalis, right? A chrysalis is the thing that that emerges. So I thought that was interesting.
That's an interesting connection.
I've never read Finnegan's Wake, but the idea of this, what Helen says is, if you can make one person happy, which then makes me think about the Raymond Carver poem "Late Fragment," which is the one about to be love, to love, and to be loved. The first time I ever heard that was in the Birdman movie with Michael Keaton, and it completely blew me away. And it's the line. See if I can call it up here really quick without having to. I don't know much about this poem or the history of it, but here's the fragment. And did you get what you wanted from this life? Even so, I did. And what did you want? To call myself beloved, to feel myself beloved on the earth. Could have cried here. Sorry.
But that's what they're kind of talking about, is they don't want to make anyone upset. They just want to be not of service. That's not the right. They just can't upset anybody.
But this idea to make one person happy, right? Yeah. And, did you feel love, and did you give love, and did you feel love? Is that a thesis of this show of what is it that's a thesis for me in my life, I guess.
It's like the meaning of life, really. Yeah, is that it? Are we talking about the meaning of life here with this Pluribus show? I think it's part of it.
Okay, I think that's it for episode 1. We've talked about a lot of the other stuff. Real quick, in episode 2, Pirate Lady. I was just blown away that they actually went to Tangiers, that they actually went to Bilbao.
She goes so dirty. And then I was thinking sorry, I'm very smart, but also kind of petty. What an outfit to wear when you're schlepping dead bodies around. She's got the shroud on. Wouldn't you want a...
Well, that's I think a
utility pant or something,
traditionally styled piece of clothing for that region.
Yeah, that's what my husband said too, and it made me feel like an asshole. But sorry for swearing. I don't know if we can swear. Can we swear here? Okay, cool. Yeah. Are we swearing? Yeah, he said that too, and I was like, oh right. But my first thought was ugh, get a cargo pant.
Right, exactly. Wasn't necessary, I guess.
Yeah, no, I guess it's not a big deal.
But
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say on that shot, that of just that body retrieval thing where Zoja is walking up and the shark. If you go back to watch the episode again, watch the setup of that shot, the multiple camera angles from on high, from back, from close, through something. The tailgate of the truck lifts up, and that's when the bodies are revealed. There are shots in there that it makes me feel like that they were shooting multiple cameras simultaneously, because the action between the edits is so seamless. It feels like one shot. How do you reblock that exactly the same over the course of the day? I feel like they were shooting multiple cameras simultaneously, which then means in the edit, you have 4 or 5 camera feeds that you then have to pick shots from to then cut together. So the editing on this show is freaking phenomenal.
I need to watch it again with that through that lens. Get it? Because I was so guffawed by the plot. What's happening? I was so immersed in it that I didn't look at it from an artistic perspective. And
I picked that up on my second.
I like that perspective. I liked how it's made and the behind the scenes of it.
So there's another behind the scenes, the shot of Carol waking up after the next morning, after and there's the bottle of whiskey that's dripping. I'm sorry. Just the fact that they could get that close to the bottle and have it crisply in focus. And then as they pan back, they rack focus back to her. And then we get a shot of her and Helen. And then we rack focus between these two dead bodies on the floor, right? One's passed out because of, alcohol consumption. The other one's stone dead from a basal skull fracture.
With flies and stuff.
Right. Well, that's, the flies later. Yeah. But just the way that those,
Yeah.
This is masterclass level of.
See, I love
filmmaking.
that you were watching that, and I was thinking like, oh, honey, she's not going to wake up. She's not going to be because maybe you're like she'll be one of the ones that wakes up. Like everyone else woke up. Like when do you call it?
Yeah,
and that's such a situation without precedent. Like when do you determine when to start digging the hole? And she makes that call pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah.
She seems really pragmatic and like quick at, like you said, like she'll make a quick decision.
Yeah.
She'll take action, but it's not thought out.
Not always.
No.
What else in episode 2?
Well, I also think that we see a similar motif with her decision making when she says, oh, yes, I want to meet the others. I want to meet the other 12 or 11 or whatever it was at that moment. And she doesn't even have the thought, like, maybe they don't agree with me. Right? She's like, of course, like, yes, get us together. We need to like figure out what we're going to do. And then she gets there and she's a total outlier, as it seems. That everyone else is like, what do you mean you don't want to join up? Like, it seems awesome. She's like,
she had big energy of, I want to talk to your manager type energy.
Karen energy.
I didn't want to use I don't want to,
it's okay.
There's a lot of people who have that name.
A lot of Karens out there. Yeah, I do feel bad for them. But it was very much.
But it's like, a type, right? It's a behavior pattern that is exhibited in our culture right now.
And she wants to demand satisfaction, and she positioned herself as the main character because, like, sorry, she is in our show. She is the main character, but then she got around these other people, and she realized that she isn't the main. They're all the main characters of their own story, right? And it isn't as egocentric as Davis, undersecretary of whatever, made it out to be. Like we thought, like we were set up to be like, okay, Carol is the protagonist. She's the main character. Is an egocentric story around her from her perspective. And then we see these other folks and we realize like, oh, they have their own storyline too. And that complicates things for us as viewers because then we're supposed to be aligned with Carol. And maybe that's when I started thinking, oh, maybe I'm not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe I do. If my kid is joined up, I want to be with her. Mm-hmm. I want to be, even my it's so funny. I hope they're not listening. I'm so sorry, family. But I'm like, I want to be with my kid and my dog and my husband. Mm-hmm. He was like the third on the list. And I can relate to that. I'm like, I want to have whatever food I want prepared in front of me. Like, but it becomes like they're servants of yours.
Right. And so when how far does Kombu's thing run? When does he get bored of going to stay in Elvis's suite?
Or when do they stop humoring him? Because they're just humoring him.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I think that
you think you still think there's a nefarious thing.
I think that the time's going to come that the collective unconsciousness will determine that we're not going to go to Vegas, honey. We're not going to like dance around in matching cheetah print jumpsuits for you anymore, which is so.
Where did those?
They have all of them. The supermodels, they're all wearing like matching outfits.
I think those are different. Those are different people.
What?
Yeah, that's a different crew.
A different harem.
Yeah.
What the heck? That guy's gross.
I may be wrong on that, but anyway. But he just said, "Hey, we want lunch."
Gross. Yeah.
He just said, "We want lunch," and that was them. He didn't stage manage that. So
yeah, I guess.
But they're catering to what they think they know about him.
And everyone had a different lunch, which was interesting.
So interesting, right?
Right? They like knew.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I don't know. I feel like that's not sustainable for a plot device and like a way to, if there's I'll go back. If there's a biological drive to assimilate everybody, this is just, buying time until that drive kicks in. So I'm eager to see what happens next, but I did start questioning, would I want to be joined up? And in episode 1, I was like, we got to save Carol. She's in danger. And then episode 2, I was like, maybe Carol's kind of a dick.
Kind of.
Right? And like, I like it, but she has to change. And she will, I'm sure. Like, we're setting
And I don't think this show would be satisfying if she didn't change, if we didn't see the arc.
And you can already start seeing her. I mean, she even says towards the end of episode 2, like, can you give me something to not be this way?
Yeah.
And they said no, but like,
get some SSRIs.
There's a thing. Right? There are
yeah,
things that they for sure could give her an Ativan, like, or a benzo, like, for sure. And like,
well, that's an interesting question. It's like, hey, Carol, your alcoholism is hurt. Oh man, the show just opened up a whole other level, because she's hurting other people through her emotional and her needs. And they can't say to her, hey, could you stop drinking? Because that would make her unhappy. But yet they have to live with her abusive behavior when she gets mad and goes off on them and kills millions of people.
Also, though, like,
bro, that's
but the thing about therapy, right? Like, let's the thing about it, to initiate change in someone, we know that change is best served in a person when it's intrinsic, when they say, I want to change.
I want this.
For me to say to Carol, you need to quit drinking, she's going to say, F you, Nichole. Exactly. No, I don't. And double down. Right. Exactly. But when she comes to terms with, I need to do it. And if she raises her hand and says, I need help, it is their imperative to help her, because that would make her happy.
And they have all the resources. They have all the best psychiatry and psychological support. And like,
they could really sort her out, and it wouldn't be effortful. Right.
Yeah.
It would be hard for her. Right. Because she'll have to find other ways to deal with the stress of this. This isn't just like normal social stress. This is like real, like, world ending. Right. But if she raised her hand and self-identified that I want to help, I want to change, they would have an imperative to help her. That's the point. Right. So I think that that's where we're going next, is for her. I think the next thing we'll see, and this is a prediction, is we'll see the other guy, the 13th that we haven't met yet.
Right.
We'll follow him. I think the timeline's going to jump back, and we're going to follow him from the beginning until they catch up on the timeline.
Right.
That's what I think. I haven't read any of I don't even know the episode description. I'm trying to stay completely blind here.
Right. But that's just natural pattern matching for watching TV. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So,
okay. Well, my final moment that I just want to shout out is the guy in the cherry picker.
He's like, thanks, Carol. He's like, we got it from here.
And the guy's just up there slowly spinning.
Yeah, and he's like chill. He's chill about it. He just had like a seizure. So we got it from here, show. Carol. And that's when I was like, it's so funny and intricate and beautiful in a way that only Vince Gilligan can do. And if this is just the beginning, I think we have a really great season ahead of us.
What an amazing year of television! Severance, Andor, Alien Earth. I'm only talking about the shows that I'm keyed in. There's all the other shows that I'm
all of like mentioning. I definitely lean more towards like Love Is Blind and the English Teacher and like funny, like I like sitcoms, comedy for sure.
Fringe.
Yeah, but I think that this is hitting on a lot of those notes, and I can't wait. I'm really excited for our coverage. I think our two heads together are going to be great.
Good. Yeah. Once we get organized, once we get this contained, and
I even feel like this is great. But I just like to chat. Yeah,
for sure.
Okay,
well, let's wrap up. Feedback, Pluribus at thelorehounds.com. Remember, Nancy's on the other side, and she will help manage and filter all of that. We want your voicemails. We want your emails. We want your interaction on the show. Even if it's like half scattered thoughts, send them in. I think this show will be more fun if we're having a collective conversation.
Absolutely.
Check the link in the show notes for the link tree to get links to all of our affiliates and to our subscription resources. Real quick, programming notes on the network. On the Lorehounds public feeds, we've got Welcome to Derry. It's being covered by Alicia. John's got some stuff going on, so he's going to dip in and out. But fortunately, Mark, your co-host for Nevermind the Music, is there to step in. So
yeah, Mark is a huge Stephen King fan, and he's so excited about this show.
Yeah. It's funny now you're like podcasting with me.
Yeah, we were joking around. I'm like, he's like, I haven't talked to him. We record in batches. We're recording this week. But he's like, I'm hearing you on other podcasts. He's like, what are you doing? Aren't you busy? I was like, yeah, I'm super busy, but I can't help myself. And he's the same way. So it's been fun to listen to him put that hat on over there. What else you guys got going on?
Talamasca, I know they're going to do a one-shot on that. That's the Anne Rice world. Brian 8063, one of our lore masters, and I are going to be doing some special coverage of the Ken Burns, the American Revolution show that's going to come up next week. We're going to do not an analysis, but like a reaction kind of thing. We're going to jump on like right at, because they're 6 episodes, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So they're just doing one a night for that whole week.
Wow.
And so we thought they were going to do weekly and then we'd give us more time. But so we're just going to jump on afterwards, record our literal reactions after having watched an episode. And Brian's a historian. He's a professional, works as a professional historian. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. We've also got a one shot for Predator Badlands coming up. We've got Alicia's got a one shot for Frankenstein also coming out, the new Guillermo del Toro. On Second Breakfast, or for the subscribers, we're talking about pie on Second Breakfast.
Okay.
And for our 11Z's movie club, we're doing a Robert Redford Film Festival. And I actually had Brian and his sister, Lisa, Red Zippy, on, and the 3 of us talked through Robert Redford's filmography, all 44 of his major starring roles. And we picked the 11 that then we'll pick during the Second Breakfast episode for the subscribers to vote on for which Robert Redford movie we're going to talk about this month. And I know that there's a What You Watching for The Witcher coming up. Jean really wants to talk about The Witcher, so I think he's drafted Alicia for that.
Cool.
Nevermind the music. You guys just had the Blondie and Monophonic Grit episode.
Yeah, we're talking a lot about, what is punk. And
it's coming up with Alicia.
Yeah, Alicia's coming on to talk about the Superman movie and explaining hope punk to us. And we have, it's been really interesting. Now I'm like framing after these conversations and listening back, thinking like, what is punk? Like, is parenting punk? Like, is podcasting kind of punk? So, it's been really, we're having a lot of fun on season 2 of Nevermind the Music. Come check us out. So upcoming episodes, Don't Let Me Down by the Chainsmokers. We're talking about rhythmic distortion. You're going to come on soon and talk about a lot of different things. I'm not going to give any spoilers to, but
generational music, the generational music theorem, how music is transmitted across generations.
I think it's going to be so cool. I can't wait for that conversation.
Yeah. But that'll come out in December, I think. We're recording in because Mark is organized. He's got all your episodes organized.
He's got all of them organized, man. We drop new episodes every Tuesday, alternating between a coverage of like a whole song, and Mark breaks it down in terms of music theory, and I talk about some psychological elements of each song. And then we have in between different little sidetrack, shorter episodes. This season, we're doing a lot of interviews, a lot of guests, we've had some really cool guests. You can
the guy who plays the organ is amazing.
He was wild. The Mariah Carey, like fan club manager was awesome too to talk to. So our content's evergreen. You can go back and check it out as you want to, but we do drop new episodes every Tuesday. So check us out. Nevermind the Music.
I think on the rest of the network, we only have, we've got other shows, but I think the only thing that's are really active are the Radioactive Ramblers are going to be covering Fallout when it comes back in December. They were doing some coverage of Gen V, The Boys. I'm not sure what's going on in that world. I've stopped. There's too much else going on. I can't keep it all in my head. And then Properly Howard, they just finished up their season of Bacon Rap, where I think it was 11 movies. They started and ended with Kevin Bacon connections.
That's cool. How fun.
Yeah, it was one of their best seasons ever. And
awesome.
But Anthony's back on the Electric Boogaloo train, covering the George R.R. Martin books of Song of Ice and Fire. And he's on to the 4th book now, the 3rd book or the 4th book, I forget. Cool. So, but you have to go, that's on a different network. Then you just have to go find Electric Boogaloo for that coverage. We will be back next week. We will hopefully have calmed down and been a little bit more methodical in our coverage. As always, we like to give a shout out to our subscribers and Discord server boosters. I don't know that you have the outline open, Nichole, so maybe in future you can join in on the reading of the names. but I can do it this time.
Yeah, that sounds good. Why don't you go for it?
Okay. So to our Discord server boosters, these are folks who donate their Discord, whatever coinage to making the community server a better place so that we all have a fun place to water cooler and talk about everything. Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena Ajalea, Lestu, Nancy M, Ghost of Partition, Radioactive Richard, and Adrian. And then we have our Lore Master subscribers. These are our top tier subscribers whose financial contributions are really the cornerstone of our ability to be an independent podcasting organization. And as always, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone, even if you're not a subscriber, that you're just listening. We know that everyone's got different circumstances and stuff, but to our Lore Masters, Samartian, Michael G, Michelle E, SC, Peter OH, Nancy M, Duve71, Brian 8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Gareth C, Andra B, Kwong Yu, Nathan T, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Dali V, Mothership 61, Gnarls, Kathy W, Lestu. He wants to be, it's always posed as a question. So he wants his name. Kathy W, Lestu, Jeffrey B, Elisa U, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Kali S, Il Mariel, Paul K, Rocky Zim, Jessica H, Red Zippy, the TCS, Dopamini, and Catch It, always last but never least, Adrian. Thank you, everyone, for your subscriptions. There's some names on here that have been with us for so long. It's incredible to me that we are able to generate the support. So thank you, and thanks for listening, and thanks for joining us. Nichole, this was a fun, crazy Sunday morning.
I'm so into it. I can't wait for the next episode. I can't wait to chat with you about it. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you to the collective unconsciousness that brought our two icebergs together.
Seriously.
To be able to do this. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Most peculiar, mama. Roll!
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by the Lorehounds. You can send questions and comments to lorehounds@thelorehounds.com. Get ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts on Patreon or Supercast, and connect with us on Blue Sky and join us on our Discord server. Links for everything are in the link tree in the show notes of this episode. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.